All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into what's looking like the next big thing in automation, AI agents. You see, if a chatbot is a tool that helps you with a task, an AI agent is a system that can do the entire workflow for you. So let's jump right into this new frontier.
And right away, this is the key difference. With your typical software, you're still in the driver's seat, right? You're clicking the buttons, following a pretty rigid path. But an AI agent, it's designed to take the wheel. It acts on its own, with a ton of independence to handle the whole workflow for you. And that right there is a huge shift in how we think about automation.
Okay, so here's the game plan for today. We're going to start with what this new automation is all about. Then, we'll pop the hood and look at an agent's core components. After that, we'll explore how these agents can team up, how we keep them safe, and finally, why humans are, still the key to all of it.
All right, first up, the new automation. And yeah, the big idea here is that we are talking about something way more than just a chatbot that can answer a single question. I mean, think about all the little steps it takes just to book a flight. You've got to check dates, compare prices, find seats, enter your info, then finally pay. An AI agent is built to handle that whole process for you. It's using a large language model, the brains behind things like ChatGPT, to manage all those complex steps on its own.
So what actually makes an agent an agent? Well, it's not just about having that LLM brain. It's about being able to reach out and use different tools, like a search engine or your company's database. It's about being smart enough to pick the right tool at the right time. And this is a big one. It can even spot when it's made a mistake and try to fix it, all while staying inside the safety guardrails we give it.
Okay, so let's move on to our second section, an agent's core components. We've talked about what an agent is, so now let's pop the hood and see how they're actually built. These are really the building blocks of their autonomy.
And I love this analogy because it makes so much sense. At its heart, every agent has three main parts. First, you've got the model, the LLM. That's the brain, doing all the thinking. Then, you've got the tools. Those are the hands, letting it actually do things. And finally, you have the instructions. They're the rules of the game, telling the agent how it's supposed to act.
And let's be clear, these tools are absolutely critical. Without them, an LLM is kind of like a brain in a jar. It's got all these thoughts, but no way to act on them. Tools are the bridge to the real world. They're how an agent's thinking gets turned into actual real-world action, whether that's searching the web or sending an email.
And we can basically break these tools down into three main categories. You've got data tools, which are all about grabbing information, like reading a PDF. You've got action tools, which are about doing stuff, like updating your CRM. And then there's this really cool one, orchestration, where one agent can actually become a tool for another one. Pretty neat, right? And that brings us to the third piece of the puzzle, instructions. And really, the takeaway here is super simple. Clarity is everything. If you give an agent vague instructions, you're going to get messy results and more errors. But clear, high-quality instructions, that leads to smooth, reliable performance. It's literally the difference between an agent that works beautifully and one that just doesn't. All right, next up, let's talk about how agents can work together. Because, a single agent is powerful, sure, but a whole team of them, that's where you can start to tackle some incredibly complex problems. They can go from being solo acts to true team players.
So the first way to do this is called the manager pattern. Just think of a project manager at work. You've got this one central manager agent, kind of like the boss, who's in charge of the whole workflow. Whenever it needs something specific done, like a translation, it just calls on a specialized agent to handle that task and report back.
Now, the other way to do it is the decentralized pattern. And here, there's no single boss in charge. Instead, you've got agents working as equals, handing off tasks to each other like runners in a relay race. So a triage agent might figure out what a customer needs and then literally pass the baton, the whole conversation, to a specialized order status agent to finish the job. Okay, so which one should you use? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. You go with the manager pattern when you really need one agent to stay in control and pull together results from different specialists. And you use the decentralized pattern when you just want to pass the task off completely, letting a specialist agent take over a whole chunk of the workflow. Okay, let's pivot to something that is honestly one of the most important topics here, safety. When you have systems that can act on their own,
Building strong guardrails isn't just a nice-to-have, it is absolutely essential for creating agents you can trust.
And the core idea for agent safety is right here on the screen. It's not about finding one single magic solution. It's all about building a layered defense. Because while any single guardrail might have a weak spot, when you stack multiple different types of guardrails together, you get a system that's way, way more resilient.
So what do these layers actually look like in practice? Well, you've got things like a relevance classifier to make sure the agent stays on topic, a safety classifier to spot malicious attacks, you've got a PII filter so it doesn't accidentally leak sensitive customer data. You even have safeguards that check how risky a tool is before the agent uses it. And finally, output validation to make sure what it says is on brand. It's a true defense-in-depth strategy.
And this is a really important point. These special AI guardrails, they don't get you out of doing the basics. They have to work right alongside the standard security stuff you'd expect anywhere else, like strong authentication and tight access controls. They're one part of a much bigger security picture.
All right, we're at our final section, and honestly, it's a huge one. Why humans are still key. You might think that with all this powerful automation, humans are getting pushed out of the picture. But with agents, the opposite is actually true. Humans become this absolutely critical part of the loop.
So when does the agent actually raise its hand and say, hey, I need a human? Well, there are two main triggers. First, if it gets stuck. If it tries to do something a few times and keeps failing, it knows to escalate to a person. And second, for those really high-stakes moments. If it's about to do something big or irreversible, like issue a massive refund, it should pause and wait for a human to say, yep, go ahead.
And this, right here, is the key takeaway. That human in the loop isn't just a safety net for when things go wrong. No, it's a powerful feedback loop. Every single time a human has to step in, that's a learning opportunity. It helps us find a weakness or a weird edge case, and we can use that information to make the agent better. The human is literally what makes the agent smarter over time.
And all this brings us to one final, really big thought. As these agents get more and more powerful and start handling entire workflows all on their own, we have to ask ourselves a pretty deep question. What decisions are so important, so sensitive, or have such a big impact that they should always, no matter what, require a human? Something to think about. Thanks for watching The Explainer.